Hey everybody, David Guerra here. Welcome back. It is Thursday again. You know what that means? That's right. It's time for hashtag Training Thursday. How are you? How's it going? Excuse me. Sorry about that there. Now we're gonna keep on with the professional personal etiquette in the workplace. And again, we've covered a lot of great topics about it, and I hope you're getting something out of it. And I also hope that you're also taking this, learning from this, and customizing it to something that'll fit you and your unique specific need. Now, I've been speaking very general, but it depends on what you do. That it customizes, and we can customize down to what you need. But again, you know your situation better than I know your situation. So again, I've been giving you general information, but it's stuff that you can actually work down and make it laser focused, niched on what you're doing, and make it apply, make it stick, make it happen, make it positive. So in this case, what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about the workspace now. That's right, your office where you're working, people you're working with. Now, you may spend more waking hours in the workspace than you do in your home. Think about it. You spend more time, yeah, sure, you spend a majority of the day at home, but 6, 7, 8 hours of it you're spending sleeping. So you're not really interacting. And then you get home by 5, you're in bed by 10, that's 5 hours. You still already have spent more time at work. Think about it. Think about it. So here are a couple little tips to keep things nice, neat, and flowing. Now, I've been guilty of some of these, I will admit it, and I can understand why. So here's what we're gonna do. Now, when it comes to keeping your workspace, well, keep it professional. You've got a desk, keep it nice and neat. Add a little bit of life to it. Don't go all crazy, but by the same token, don't just have a blank desktop. That kind of like leads people to think, hey, what's going on? Now, people will see the space and they'll consider it a reflection of you. Now, I've heard both sides of the argument. I've kept a dirty desk. And not dirty in the sense of there's dust and there's food. No. What dirty in the sense of I have kept stacks of paper, files, books, that kind of stuff. Cluttered, more like it. Now, that's where I differ. See, I know where everything is on my desk. But other people just walk in and just see a cluttered, dirty, messy desk. What does that say about the guy behind it? Again, that's true. But on the other hand, what does it say about a person who's got a clean, clear desk? They're going to want to work with somebody who's that meticulous and wants a clear desk all the time? Something to think about. Yeah, it's true. Speaking of others, so whether you work in a cubicle, a farm of cubicles, or in an office and there's other offices, respect others' space. Don't just walk in. Don't just assume they're waiting there for you. And especially knock or make your presence known and let them know that, hey, you're around, you want to talk to them. Don't assume that because they see you, they acknowledge your presence, that it's an invitation to come in and sit down. Wait until they invite you in. They could be on the phone. Oh, please. Don't walk in and just start yapping, especially when somebody's on the phone. Because what does that say about the organization? What does that say to the person on the other end of the phone? And especially, what does it say about the person on the phone? One, what does it say about you as the person who walked in just starts yapping away and just thinks he runs the whole show because he is who he thinks he is, and not cognizant or recognizing other people work there too. So be careful. Always make sure that when you enter a room that someone isn't on the phone or they're having a deep discussion. Now, as I said, don't interrupt telephones, because again, you don't know what the conversation's about. You don't know what's going on. It could be an important conversation. It could be a huge to the company. It could be something that's going to bring in more business, but you going in there interrupting them, well, trust me, that's not professional. That's not tactful. That's just not allowed. So be careful. Just look in. If you really need to get their attention, it's an emergency, it's a 911, and you know what? Then the fire alarm needs to be pulled, and let that happen. But other than that, there really is no excuse to just walk in with just no regard for anybody else but yourself and just start making a nuisance of yourself. Now, as I said, when it comes to the telephone, do not interrupt people that are on the phone. I know sometimes you just walk into the room and you don't know until you're actually in there, but you already start loud, coming in. You could care less. Don't do that. Stop doing that. Actively start thinking about not doing that. Actively start looking before you enter. Actively work at that. Because again, you start walking in there, you don't know that the person's on the telephone. If they're on the telephone, it could be a very important company phone call. It could be bringing in some business, but that interruption just changes the flow of the conversation completely. And then what have you got? You've got trouble. So don't do it. Actively think about what you're doing before you walk into that office. Because again, it's not professional, it's not tactful, it's nonsense. That's really what it is. Excuse me. So, now on the other hand, on the other side of the coin, if you are on personal calls, please limit them. Limit them throughout the day. Limit the number of calls, personal calls you get throughout the day. Now, I understand life happens. The kids are sick. You're dealing with the insurance company. You're dealing with automobile dealer because your car broke down. You're dealing with a mechanic. Something happens. Something's always going on in our lives. I understand it. And sometimes those phone calls spill into work time. But realize that when your boss asks you, are you taking a personal phone call? Don't do it. Do not lie. Do not say no. Because that's the worst thing you want to do. It's lying to your boss. Do not do it. It's nonsense. Let them know, yes, it's a personal call. It'll be a couple of minutes, but then go and refrain from answering the phone. Let everybody know that it's only an emergency, that they can call you. If they need to, you'll call them back at your break. You'll call them back at lunchtime. You'll call them back after work or before work. And if it's such a critical situation that you have to be on the phone, then you know what? Maybe why don't you just stay home and deal with it then? And it is that simple because, again, that's the worst thing in the world that you could do is sit there in front of your boss when he asks you, are you on a personal call? And you say you're not, but the little speaker says, hey, who's that? Who are you talking to? And I say this because it's happened to me. I've seen it. I've heard it. I've heard the little voice. It's not a good thing. So, folks, avoid personal calls as much as possible. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is kind of everybody does it because everybody has to eat. Food. Food you bring in so you can eat at the office. Just control it. You take something in, you take it out at the end of the day. Don't leave it for tomorrow. Take it, bring it back tomorrow, but do not leave anything laying around because you leave something laying around, you'll forget about it, you'll go get something else, it'll just stay there another day, and so on until, you know what, the sauerkraut you brought in with the German bratwurst or knockwurst the other day has been there for 2 weeks, and guess what? Especially if it's like we got a Memorial Day weekend coming up, it's going to be a 3-day weekend, and you had bratwurst and you left it there with sauerkraut, and you left it there on a Thursday and said, "Oh, I'll eat it on Friday." You and everybody else goes out to eat to celebrate a 3-day weekend, and you skip it, and then it stays there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. You come back Tuesday, and they want to know who they're going to hang because something died in there, folks. Bring food, eat it, take it with you. Leave nothing behind. It's kind of like camping. You bring everything with you, and when you leave, you take everything, including the garbage. Do that. So what I'm saying is, with your food, just be proactive. Think ahead because you don't want it to be regulated there. You don't want to cause other people trouble. Everybody needs to work together. Bring the food, eat your food, take it home. Bring the food, don't eat the food, take it home the same day. It is that simple. All right, everybody, well, I think we've come to the end. My name is David Guerra. You can always contact me on Twitter at daveguerra.com or by email, dave@daveguerra.com. And as always, you just leave me a message. I'll leave a message here on the feed, and I will respond as soon as possible. This has been #Training Thursday. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and let me know. In the meantime, have a great week. I will talk to you next Thursday. Take it easy.